make room on the path to get to heaven because it can't be crowded. If you haven't made room for people, if you're squeezing them out, and you squeeze them out by making judgments, not understanding them, maybe not understanding their heart or their soul, and maybe they want to be on the path, they don't know how to get there. Maybe it's not their time, but you need to leave a space for them in case they're ready to come along on the path.
All right, let's do this. Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of Walking with the Savior. I'm your host, John Merrill Kirkman, and I'm so excited to be here with Monica
Bambrough.
That's right. Bambrough.
Yes.
And Monica, she's got these nice homemade sweatshirts. She brought me one today. Now, hey, I know I don't got my shirt on. It's underneath. You're awesome. Don't forget it. You're awesome. We love you. But she brought me the sweatshirt, so I had to wear it today. And it says heaven. Wait, tell us a little bit about your sweatshirt.
It says make heaven great. And
no, it doesn't.
I don't even know, right? It says make heaven crowded.
Okay.
And I just had that rolling around in my head. I'm like, I'm going to make a sweatshirt out of that because I love that phrase. So I had one made. Making one sweatshirt is pretty expensive.
I know.
And then I posted about it. And one of my friends who's a Catholic, actually, she's like, I have a sweatshirt with that on it. I'm like, that's where I saw it. It was a sweatshirt that she had worn at an event that I attended at their Catholic church. And so when I made mine, then like some friends saw it and they wanted it. So I ordered them some. My son wanted one, and then all his buddies wanted one. So we ordered some.
How old's your son?
He's 14.
Oh, wait. You got 14-year-old boys in your community running around with little...
Yes. And it even gets better. Now that the boys have them, all their friends that are girls want them.
Oh, yes. These must be some handsome boys.
These are some fun...
I wear sweatshirts and no girls wanted one.
These are fun boys. And I love that I didn't have to ask my son to wear it or buy it. And then his buddies, I didn't have to ask. Or the girls didn't have to ask. But then my son, who's made a small business out of this now, he sells them, right? So he can make a little bit of money.
Let's go, son.
And he made Make Heaven Tuesday.
Make Heaven Tuesday?
So you can wear your Make Heaven sweatshirts on Tuesday.
Okay, let's go.
To junior high. So
Make Heaven Tuesday.
Now you can have a swath of kids wearing that message at the junior high, and hopefully it sinks in.
I'm thinking it needs to be Make Heaven Monday.
Make Heaven Monday, yeah.
Yeah, it's got a little jingle to it, and I think sometimes teenagers don't like Mondays.
They don't like Mondays, but I thought that was super cute.
I do like. I give them props.
Right,
a 14-year-old boy is saying, "Hey, let's make heaven on Make Heaven Tuesday."
Yeah, and wear your sweatshirts together.
Anytime a 14-year-old grabs onto something like this, I'm like, that is a major win.
I know. I was like, what? I didn't have anything to do with that. And he also ordered a sweatshirt offline that says Child of God on the back and a sweatshirt. I'm like, wow. I love that message.
He's a little entrepreneur going.
Yes.
He's just sharing the goodness.
Yes.
Okay, now we got to get into the message, all right?
Yes.
Because Make Heaven crowded. What's your mojo about that? What's your how did this become a passion of yours, so to speak?
Just with a lot of things I do with my calling, I get to visit a lot of other religions and worship with them or serve with them. Definitely connecting with them. And then we run into each other at other events, and then that furthers the connection. So as this was going through my head, it's kind of like, oh, it's going to be crowded. I like this person. And I know he's going to be there. I know she's going to be there.
Yeah.
And so the more you see people like that, you're like, yeah, it's going to be crowded. And so I don't like sweatshirts with sayings on them. It's not my thing. But you told me to wear it today, so here I am.
Well,
And
I reached out to you, and then you're like telling me about these sweatshirts. I'm like, I want a sweatshirt. So
I'm sure you could buy that from my son.
you mean I got to give this back?
You gotta give it
Oh
back.
no.
I took it from his sale pile for his friends.
Okay, I'll give it back. Well, I might
Mm.
Venmo him. What if I
Okay.
Venmo him today?
Oh, he'd love that.
All
He'd
right.
love
Yeah, let's support the 14-year-old boy.
Yeah,
Make heaven crowded sweatshirts.
yeah.
How has that shifted your mindset when you meet people with this mentality versus like, oh, those people, they're not gonna make it. You know what I mean?
I think you're willing to be kinder because you got to show up for whatever your message is on your shirt, right? Like, I'm a little scared when they wear that to school. I'm like, you better be repping.
You better be nice.
You better be
Yeah,
nice.
you
You
better.
better stand for something. You better,
I love that.
I don't say that, but that's kind of my thinking. You can't wear something unless it's rolling through your head. How do I make that happen? What does that mean to me?
Yeah.
And that really means to me make room on the path to get to heaven because it can't be crowded. If you haven't made room for people, if you're squeezing them out and you squeeze them out by making judgments, not understanding them, maybe not understanding their heart or their soul, and maybe they want to be on the path, they don't know how to get there. Maybe it's not their time, but you need to leave a space for them in case they're ready to come along on the path. As I was thinking about this, and I don't tell this story to be like, look what we did. This was amazing,
No.
But when I thought of it, I'm like, oh, that's what that moment was. It's a make space on the path moment. So my son's friend, so now they're 24.
Another son.
Another son doesn't have a lot of family time with like holidays and stuff. And one Christmas, my son is like, he's not going to have Christmas. He'll probably just stay at home and go out to eat like he did last year. I'm like, okay, not going to happen. So invite him over. He can be part of our family and have Christmas with us. So with that, it's like, how do you scramble to pull together a Christmas for a friend? So everyone had gotten pajamas that I had bought for them. And I just asked my son, okay, can you give your pajamas to him? Because you don't wear those pajamas to bed anyway. So let's give it to him so he feels a part and special. You should have seen his face when he put on those pajama bottoms and came down the stairs. I'm not kidding you. Like it was Christmas morning. And he's looking at presents. He was so excited. And I didn't have another stocking. So I had to go through my Christmas stuff and I found one. And ironically, it was Christ's stocking.
Oh,
big white fuzzy.
You have a stocking for Christ?
Yeah.
I like that. I've never heard of that, but yeah, hello.
So that's what I had. I'm like, okay, no longer Christ. It's going to be his. And I thought that was fitting for the moment that his stocking became someone else's stocking. And all of our names have our names embroidered on them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he needs his name embroidered on his. So I stayed up late and I embroidered his name.
You gotta be kidding me.
In the stocking cuff. So it looked meant to be for him to be there instead of we're just squeezing you in, we're gonna make it work. It's like, oh no, he's here. He's got to be part of it. Then you find all the things to stuff the stocking and what can I give him? What do I have? And so we did that. And he's not active in any religion. But I believe that simple act of kindness made a space for him on the path. So when you're ready, I made a space for you. You know you're wanted. And it's going to be right here. And then you come to the next person. What did you do to leave a space for the next person? Whatever that is. And it's different for everybody. Can be simple, can be big. So that when they're ready, you're like, oh, yep, there's John's space. There's Marsha's space, right? There's Stephanie's space. It's been saved. So when they're ready, they just hop in and keep coming along with us.
Maybe it's like a tram.
It's like a tram, yes. This is your box car, and you just hop in to heaven.
Hop in, get in the tram.
Get in.
We're going to get there.
We're going to get there. We're going to get there together. And I think as you think about that, you're like, oh my gosh, the path is getting really crowded now that you're making all this space for people. Because at the time, maybe it looks sparse,
Mhm.
doesn't look packed, and I think that's okay. Um, but over time, you'll fill in those spaces with people, and I think the pearly gates are wider than we want to admit or that we want to say or talk about. And because I think Jesus is arms wide open, right? He's not like, come, I'm going to get you right here and squeeze in to this little space. It's not this.
Let me give you a hug right here.
Let me just T-Rex you. I think it's massive, and I think the gates are massively opened so that when you get there, it's up to him if you get in. We didn't hold anybody back. We didn't let them stay off the path. We didn't block them out of the path. There was a space for them. So they had a chance with him at the end, and then he can make the decisions. So
wide open pearly gates.
Wide open pearly gates.
Yeah. What do you think about that, audience? I mean, my friends, my listeners out there, wide open pearly gates.
Yeah.
Wow.
But again, that doesn't mean everyone's getting in, right?
No. I don't. I think we have a choice.
Yeah.
Like if we don't want Jesus here, I kind of think we're not going to want him there. But maybe our heart changes,
right?
Right?
Yes.
But I think that's more of an issue. Like Christ wants us to choose him. I feel like that's one of the big purposes of life, isn't to test us to see will we keep all the commandments? Because the answer to that is no, you're not going to keep all the commandments.
Right.
The question is, with all the temptations out there, will we choose him?
Yes. And we need to give them that opportunity.
Yeah.
If we're blocking, like, no, this is my past and it's super skinny.
Yeah.
There's not your space for you because you're not there right now. You're not doing this or that. I think that's going to be bad for us. In the end.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we get caught up in the fact that people are trying different things.
Yes.
And we're judging them. That's not the way. No, don't do that.
Yeah.
I can't just see that's the stupid way. But they got a
free agency.
They got agency. And for some reason, that path is looking good. And for some reason, they're going to try that path. And we just have to allow space.
Say, you might not be here right now, but I'm going to leave a little space right here.
Yeah, I like
for
that.
You.
I like that a lot.
When you're ready. And I was recently talking to a new friend about some circumstances within her family with some siblings with addictions.
Tough one.
Yeah, and it was tough. And I was like, you know what's so crazy is if I refer back to Tamara Runya's talk, you factor in the degree of difficulty on their journey, changes everything. And I was like, you know what? We don't know his path, but when they factor that in, he could win both of us.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
He could totally, if you're calling it a race, he could win the race.
Yeah.
When you factor in the degree of difficulty, because we don't know his life experiences, mental challenges, pressures, home life that brought him to this, societal pressures, we don't know. So when you factor that in.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. We're talking about diving. Sister Runya gave a talk about how diving, they factor in the degree of difficulty. And, I look at my life and I'm like, ooh, on the diving board and maybe, smooth and just a nice little swan dive into the pool. And I like to think, this low splash here, low splash.
They're going to be like, yeah, you had a really easy. That was a 2-inch splash. You're getting docked. That should have been a 1/2-inch splash. Yeah, it was so easy.
Well, I mean, I might be getting, a 30 score and thinking, oh, that's really good. Dude, look at my splash, And then the guy comes up and he does a triple, quadruple somersault. And, he's got a way bigger splash. But because his dive was much more difficult, he's getting a 50 or whatever. Yeah. I don't know, scoring much in diving, right? Yeah. But I think, we have to give space for people to take their journey because that degree of difficulty, sometimes we just don't see it. Like in diving, you can see it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to life, we don't see it.
We don't see it. And I was driving to an event on Sunday night and it was raining. And I've served and I've helped with the homeless community.
Oh, I love that.
Right? And I happened to look over and saw 4 of them in the rain.
Mm.
And my automatic thought was, oh, my friends. And I just started crying.
Oh.
So I'm driving in the rain, crying that these are my friends now. I didn't know their faces,
Yeah.
but I know their experiences and the
Mm.
challenges they
Mm.
have. And it just like, it just breaks your heart. So, yes, they might be addicted to drugs. They might be addicted to other substances. But they probably had a really rough life, either created by their own decisions or just what they were born into. But when you figure in that degree of difficulty,
Yeah.
like that could change everything.
Yeah.
And so, did we save a space for them to squeeze in there when it worked out,
Yeah.
when they figured it out? Maybe they don't believe in Christ. Maybe now they do. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
if we're
and I've
always
never met somebody on the streets, and I love working with homeless too. I don't do it a lot, but
yeah,
I've had several instances where I've interacted,
yeah.
and I've never talked to somebody there or in prison, okay? Because I've worked in the prisons too, where
I've done both. I've served in the
yeah,
prison.
let's go 1 to 20 powers activate.
One of the scariest experiences of my
I know.
life as a 21-year-old, but so beautiful
Yeah,
in the
that's what I
end,
felt. It's like
right?
I've never met anybody in those places
Yeah,
where they didn't have a serious degree of difficulty in their story.
yeah,
Now, I'm not giving them an excuse,
right. But you
but
can give compassion,
yeah, we can give compassion, we
a
can
little
give
bit of
love.
grace. Yeah,
And what I've come to realize is that the tentacles like an octopus. You ever seen an octopus? They got 8 legs, or whatever. 8
yeah,
legs, 8 arms. What are they?
yeah.
Something like that.
I would,
And they just keep reaching out. And that's the way the Savior works. And
yeah,
I've seen people turn their lives around that the Savior's reached in prison or on the streets. And maybe he's just touched their hearts for a moment.
yeah,
And maybe it's going to take 100 of those, 1,000 of those to get that person to turn around.
yeah.
But the Lord's going to do it. That's the confidence I have.
Right.
The Lord is relentlessly pursuing us, right?
Yes.
He's not quitting. He's not giving up.
Right.
But sometimes I think we kind of get in the way
Yeah.
because,
We're playing like defense,
here.
right? Like, this is my space. Get out. There's no room for you. You're not doing it right. I'm over here. I'm like,
Hey,
awesome.
get in line. Get behind me. I know the way. What are you, dumb? No, we don't say that, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Back of the line, buddy.
Yeah.
You're just barely getting here. Back of the line.
And we get in the way of like trying to intervene and
Yeah.
trying to tell them how it's done and trying to push them on the path or
Right.
say, why don't you just do this?
Yeah.
And with that golden ticket called agency, we can never step in and overpower agency.
Right.
Because even if they followed us because they're like, okay, I'll just follow you. But if it's not truly their choice,
Yeah.
it doesn't last.
Right. And I think that with that experience I shared about Christmas.
Oh, I love that story, by the way. Thank you so much for sharing it. And I know you weren't bragging.
Yeah.
That
just came to my head like that was making space.
That was making
That
space.
was making space. I didn't proselytize. I didn't preach about Jesus Christ. I didn't have to do all these things. It's just you know what? I hope you felt loved. I hope you felt wanted. I hope you felt a part. And maybe those little pajamas touched your heart, and that's why you were so happy.
Wait, now you said you did not proselytize.
Yeah, it's not like.
But wait a minute.
Look.
You did.
Just by example.
No, by love.
By love. Yeah.
You didn't say Jesus.
Right.
But they felt Jesus.
That's the goal.
That's what we're talking
And
about.
we're not always perfect at it.
No,
I'm
of course not. Of course not.
Try your best.
Of course not.
Try and love everybody and do the best things and accept, not judge and such. So
yeah, and I mean, being here with you is more for me than the listener audience out there. I get lessons from people like yourself, and I'm inspired by you. Making room. I love that. And this is what this came to me. Tell me what you think about this, okay?
Lay it out.
Making room on the path is making room for them in our lives.
Yeah. Correct.
a space for love.
A space for love. But that can only
But,
be a
but I
few
mean, we have to have
seconds.
boundaries,
Yeah,
right?
but that
So,
could just be a few seconds.
oh, good. Yeah.
That could be a few minutes.
Mm.
This was,
Why,
maybe
why do you say that? That's
24
interesting.
hours.
But
Because when you come in contact with someone, I have so many interactions with people.
okay.
And I've thought about this. I'm like, I really have only like maybe 5 minutes in most of my interactions to make a friend.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's so much. It's like, oh, meet this person, meet that person, get to know them a
Yeah.
little bit,
Yeah.
get to know the next person a little bit. Um,
And it gets overwhelming. We can't meet everybody, I
you
guess.
can't meet everybody, and everyone can't be fully present in your life.
Yeah.
Everyone can't play a full role. You can't play a full role
Yeah.
for
That's good.
everybody. But in those 5 minutes, it's like, okay, I hope they got to know me enough. They felt of Christ. I emulated him. I was an extension of him.
Mm.
So next time, it's all good, right? You're ready to just step in and continue to go to the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Now we don't
yeah,
all have to do what you did
no,
with this young man on Christmas Eve.
no. It's small things. Like I
Yeah.
said, it's a 5 minute interaction. So
I think.
talking about the homeless,
Okay. Good.
I've done homeless experiences where you live on the street with the homeless for about 8 hours.
You picked up a blanket and
Yeah.
whoo for
Yeah.
8 hours. I've thought about doing that. I just don't got the courage.
Oh, you got to do it. You got to do it.
There's Monica setting the example for me.
You can join me next time. So,
Hey, we're having a homeless party. You guys want to come?
oh, totally. So we started at community action services in Provo, and they give you a few canned food items based on the story card you have, which is a real story, just with a different name. And you bring your backpack or bag, whatever you're going to use, you throw them in there, so you're carrying that through the night. You get a blanket or a knapsack or a sleeping bag, and you carry that with you the whole night. And then you read their story and what their obstacles are, what they're up against. Why are they homeless? Is it mental capacity? Is it health? Is it not enough money from jobs? Often that is the case. They can't afford rent, so they live in their car, they live on their street. And then you visit different places where they would visit, where they would go eat dinner, maybe where they would worship. So you get a little bit of a glimpse. One night we were all leaving as a group, and I was just videoing the side of a building, and a homeless gentleman walked out from behind the building and started talking to me. So I turned off my camera and just engaged with him. Again, 5 minutes. I'm never probably going to see him again.
Mm-hmm.
But in that time, it's like, what's your name? Tell me a little bit about you. And I would give later, as I reflected upon this, I was like, I'd give up my pearl earrings for this moment. That's more important than the pearl earrings. And in that interaction, it's like, okay, I made a space for him because I got to know him. And by doing so, I think you, again, love a little bit more. You have a little bit more compassion. You know their story and you want them to be on the path. So you're going to leave that space instead of just like, you're homeless. What are the other things we could come up with? You're dirty, you're smelly. Maybe we could say you're an addict, even though we don't know. You look miskept. You maybe use foul language. All these things that we could attribute to someone without knowing them, that would keep them off. So 5 minutes to say, oh, I made room for them. So if they hop on, you're going to be with me. You're going to be with me right here.
Well, I think
right here, buddy.
I think the idea is sometimes life is go, go, go.
Yes.
Go, go, go.
Yes.
Go, go, go. And it's slowing down, taking time to genuinely look at somebody's eyes and say, tell me about your life.
Yeah.
Tell me what's going on.
What's going on? And he told me, I gave up my bed tonight for someone else that might have needed it more. So I'm going to sleep on the street tonight.
Oh my. Wow.
So in his actions, did he make space on the path?
Oh wow.
I think he totally made space on the path,
Yeah.
right? I did this good thing, and now I would say, suffering, sleeping on a cold
Yeah.
wet night. That night was wet.
Well, think about that. A homeless man giving up his bed for somebody else or his mat or whatever he was sleeping on.
Yeah. And I turned and walked away, and, I'm just crying like, wow, there's a lot of weight in all of these experiences, right? Because you have your first interaction, you got to process all of that. Like,
Yeah.
how does that work? How do we understand that? How do we help?
Yeah. I think the world is on a hot, divisive mess sometimes.
Yeah.
Like we get into the divisive, the contention, the let's find the reasons to argue.
Right.
But when I like this idea of taking time to allow space into our life to help somebody feel seen,
Yeah.
to help somebody feel known or just valued.
Yeah.
And that can take just a few
minutes.
And if maybe it's like this, if people can see themselves as worthy of your time, maybe they can start to believe they're worthy of God's time.
Yes. Because
I don't
people
know.
need to feel loved, seen, understood,
Mm-hmm.
valued, right?
And not judged.
Not judged. Yeah.
Like accepted in that.
Yeah.
Because I think deep down we're afraid that if somebody truly knew me,
right,
they would not want to be my friend anymore.
Right. And that's a hard position, right?
Yeah. But our job then is to do all of those and still respond. And it takes work, people.
It does.
But to respond
with, not always easy.
But to respond with love.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because sometimes you're trying to pull people just along the path of life, not even always along the path to the pearly gates. But
I have an idea that this idea came to my mind. I once had a student come to me. She was struggling in my class, and I teach youth, teenagers, the gospel of Jesus Christ and coming to Christ and come get on the path, You're welcome on the path.
I have a space for you.
I have a space for you.
When you're ready.
Oh, that's a good line.
When you're ready.
Yeah, we have a space for you when you're ready. But I was going to tell you this. This girl said, I don't belong here because I'm gay. And I said, yeah, you do. Because we all have challenges, obstacles, struggles. They're all different.
Right.
However you be.
What makes that worse than my.
Yeah. And there's a place for you.
Or hardship.
And I want you here. Yeah. And I want to learn from your perspective.
Yeah. Right.
I want to learn from your perspective.
You're right.
Everybody, maybe there's not another gay student here. Well, then you're the only one that can teach me your perspective.
Right. How can we all be better?
Yeah, teach me how I can love better. Teach me how I can serve better. Teach me what I need to understand you.
Right.
And to care about you and any other of your friends that might be struggling to feel loved, seen, valued.
Yeah. And I think it's important that, we always tell ourselves, this is my truth. This is how I see things. But I think it's more vital to listen to people. Not listen to talk, not listen to say, oh, blah, 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 blah. Oh, no, they just want you to listen. They don't need your anecdotes. They don't need that all the time.
So what's your go-to when somebody just starts unloading the bad in their life?
Ooh, is there a go-to? I don't have a go-to because every story is so different.
Yeah. Okay.
So different.
I'm just looking for help, because sometimes, somebody tells me about their situation because I like to get to that spot.
Yeah.
I don't want like, hey, how you doing, bro? Okay, cool, bro. We'll catch you next week at church. I'm like, I started giving bro hugs at church.
Awesome.
And I say, you're awesome,
Yeah.
But I try to get to the, hey, tell me what's going on, Tell me what's going on in your life. And every once in a while, recently, somebody will open up and tell me some really hard things, right?
Right.
So What's your
So
go-to?
again,
Help me out.
there's not a
Communicate.
go-to because
I'm a guy. I don't know this stuff naturally.
okay,
Yo,
so
bro. Sorry about that, man. Catch you next week. No, I don't want that. I need something a little better.
okay, so here's an example that I cherish this memory.
So should I say that to him?
No, I
Okay.
don't know if you should say
I'm
that.
just joking. You're sharing that you cherish a memory that's
I,
coming to your mind right now.
exactly.
Okay, sorry.
So I was helping serve dinner at the Food and Care Coalition.
Man, we got to connect on some of these because I
Yes,
love this stuff.
I post about all kinds of stuff, and people are always welcome to join me.
Yeah, I do. I love this stuff. Humanitarian
So
service, taking food
it's
to the
so
homeless.
good. And they put me um, overfilling the water at the tables and the cups as people came in. They needed refills and such. I'm like, I wanted to serve the dinner. I don't want to pour water. I'm just like, give me
That's so
this
funny.
chintzy meal. I mean, roll.
The water server.
I'm a water server. It ended up being the absolute best
Mm,
role
why?
because I could mingle with all of the homeless and I could
Oh,
say, "Sir, ma'am, can I fill your water?"
mm,
When's the last time they were called sir or ma'am
mm,
and shown a little respect for a minute? They're just
mm.
there for a few minutes to eat and they're back on the street. And I just love that. And I got to see some of the amazingness, the quirkiness, um, feel a little bit of them because some were just absolutely beautiful. And after that, um, this cute woman was, hi, she was playing a song and teaching another gentleman how to dance to that song.
Cool.
And so then she taught me how to dance
Okay,
to
let's
that
go.
song,
Let's
right?
go.
And it was just like a two-step. And she played her music and she taught me how to do that. And we two-stepped around the inner sign of the Food and Care Coalition. And so that gave her a minute to teach me something
Mm.
that maybe she doesn't ever really get to do. And
You kind of put her up on a pedestal a little bit.
it's not putting her up on a pedestal, it's just treating her like I'd want to be treated,
Mm,
right? It's one of those do unto others as you would have them do unto you. She's
mm,
not less than
mm-hmm,
because she's in a hardship, but
mm,
in that short time, she told me all the things that got her to this place, how
mm,
she's living in her car in a tent when she
mm.
can. Um, so to share that little dance with her, it was just to me just a magical moment
Yeah.
in life. And I can just, close my eyes and I put that song on my playlist. So if I hear it, I think of her. I think of that moment. And so is that going to be the same answer for the next person?
Mm,
No way.
mm,
That was a unique circumstance to learn of her.
mm,
And so I don't have a go-to. It's just connect. How can I connect?
mm.
How can I be an extension of Jesus Christ? And again, it's not, well, while we're dancing, let me tell you about my friend Jesus Christ. We're gonna just I'm gonna break it down to you to the beat, and you're, by the time we're done, you're gonna be on the path with me.
Yeah.
That's not how it goes. But again, that made a space
Yeah.
if she wants to be part of what maybe she experienced or whatever she felt with me. Like, oh, I felt warm. I felt loved. And I wish I could do that to everybody all the time,
Oh
right?
my goodness, that's amazing.
Because it doesn't happen all the time.
No, but
Sometimes.
that's so amazing.
So yeah, she was darling.
And you intentionally well, a lot of things happen there. You put yourself in a
Mhm.
place where you could interact with these people.
Yeah.
You were seeking for that opportunity to serve and interact with them. And then in that moment, you connected with them. Sir, could I refill your water? You didn't have to say that.
No.
And then
No.
taking the time to connect with her, listen to her. That's so beautiful, so powerful. And really resonating Jesus Christ, creating space,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
making heaven crowded.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people want that, even whether they know it or not. They want
Yeah.
a space on the path. Like, just save that space for me before I'm ready,
Hmm.
because something's holding me back now. But just save it for me. Sure. Save that space for you. and you're going to be next to my friend, like I said, John and Stephanie, and we'll all go in together,
Yeah.
right? And so there's no go-to. It's so unique for each person, and you don't want it to be fake or contrived. So you can't say this is always going to be my go-to, because what if it's not the right go-to? You're
I'm
like,
a guy. I like to, how many turns do I have to turn the wrench? You know what I mean? How many times do I got to pound the nail?
to get it, yeah. So I don't know. And we were just, talking about your student that is that you
Gay.
said was gay,
Yeah.
and we had briefly talked about truth, right? Like, well, this is my truth, this is your truth, but we need to listen to other truths to get a full truth, because it's not just us. And I love how my friend Chad says this. And when I heard it, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I totally believe that. I understand that. I already think that. But he said, that just gives us the fuller picture, because it's never just me in a conversation. It's never just me in a situation. There's other people. So my truth can't be the full truth. You need to understand the people around you to have the full truth of each situation. So then you better understand differences and how to communicate. And I just love how he said that. It's never just one. You're always with somebody else, with some other situation, some other thought process, some other belief system. But if you listen, you're like, okay, no, I can understand the truth here.
Yeah. What that makes me think of is the wise man who told the story about the 8 blind men trying to describe an elephant. You ever heard that?
I don't know.
You'll
have
they're
to tell
they're
it.
they're like 8 blind men, and each blind man has a different part of the elephant, and one elephant has the tail, and it's like, oh, an elephant's like a snake, and one's like holding on to the leg, and he's like, oh, an elephant's like a tree trunk, and then the ear is like, oh, it's like I don't know what was the ear, a palm tree or something. It's a giant leaf.
It's so thin. It's so
Yeah,
thin.
giant
Right?
leaf, and the trunk is like maybe that was a snake.
I don't know.
Yeah, and and they all had a different perspective
On the same
on the same thing, right?
And see, I totally understand that story, because
Yeah.
when I talk about Jesus Christ,
Yes.
I kind of pick the Statue of Liberty because
Oh,
it's so well known, right? I'm like,
okay.
okay,
I've
so
never heard Jesus' Statue of Liberty
I know,
analogy.
right? I'm just like, okay, if you're looking at the Statue of Liberty from the air,
Okay.
you're going to have one perspective.
Okay.
If I'm on the the water in a boat looking at the statue, I'm going to have a different perspective. If you're looking at it from Long Island, you're going to have a different perspective.
Or underneath it.
Or underneath, looking straight up. Does that make that a different Jesus? No, it's the exact same Jesus. We're just in different positions. We understand things differently. We've learned things differently. Doesn't change the Jesus.
No.
And
That's why I think it's silly to I think it's silly to accuse somebody of not believing Jesus, or you're not a Christian because your Jesus is different than my Jesus.
Yeah.
I hear that sometimes, right?
Yes, I've heard that.
I just ignore the whole conversation. I think we're looking at the same Statue of Liberty.
Yes, yes.
I get your analogy.
But this is the thing. I don't ignore it.
Oh, you don't ignore
I
it.
don't ignore it.
Okay, so tell me how you do it.
How do I do it? Again, it's not always going to be the same. I'm not going to tell you how many times I hammer that nail in. So, it's like, you know what? Did your Jesus die on a cross?
Okay.
So did mine.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Did your Jesus get raised from the tomb?
Yeah.
So did mine.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. Does your Jesus love you?
Jesus love you, right? Did your Jesus have 12 apostles?
Okay.
Peter, James, John, yes. You know what? I think we're talking about the same person.
Oh, hey, that's good. That's good. That's a high five.
But I'm in the air flying over. You're in the water passing by.
Yeah.
It's just a different perspective.
Yeah.
And we can describe it maybe a little bit differently. We can look at it differently. And that, gives ripple effects to your belief of him.
Yeah. What I meant was, instead of arguing, am I Christian? Are you a Christian? Or, I'm just like, oh, you believe in Jesus? Teach me something about your Jesus.
Yes.
Teach me something about Jesus Christ.
Yes.
What's your experience like?
Yes.
That's kind of the mojo of this podcast. It's just like I don't worry about what Christian denomination you're a part of.
Right.
I just want to invite you on and have a conversation about Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And man, I feel so good doing that.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, when I worship with a lot of different religions.
Yeah.
Hindu,
That's interesting.
Buddhist,
That's interesting.
Catholic, non-denominational, Bible, you name it. And I love how they can sometimes tell a scripture and a teaching with that in a way that is just enough different that I'm like, oh my gosh, I love how you said that. Or how you taught that. And more than that is, oh, I believe that. I believe that. That could be taught over my pulpit. Hopefully my doctrine on that same scripture or that same take in history would be the same.
Sure.
So let's unite on that.
Yeah.
Let's go together on that.
Yeah.
And there's so many beautiful messages.
Yeah.
Like I said, in Buddhism, I can pull a little bit from that. Hinduism, I can pull from that. The way songs are sung.
Yeah.
Right?
And the different songs.
Different songs. Oh, I can totally pull from that.
Yeah. Right? Have you heard the new song in the hymn book? I got that little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine. That little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine. Yes. Woo! That's got a little Southern vibe to it. And I love the Southern vibe.
I hope when they sing that, they've got a few people up top on the stage.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that the piano player doesn't play it really slow. Okay. Yeah. No. Play it with some spice.
Can someone break out a tambourine? Pull it out from their chest coat.
They slide it out the coat.
Yeah.
The suit coat.
I think that would be amazing.
This little light of mine. This little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine.
Yes, so many great new songs, and I'm glad that they're branching out to a few.
All right, I got to ask you this. Elder Rasband said, Jesus Christ is the answer. Start with him. Look for his hand in your life.
Love that.
How's he shown up for you as we wrap up today?
Oh, how's he shown up for me?
Yeah. Do we need another episode?
We need another episode for that. I just think he's there at every turn, right? I don't believe that I could do anything that I do without him, right? He's the strength. He buoys. He's the love. He's the example. And I serve in the temple, and I am over what used to be, I think we started with 43 women that I called to serve, and we were over the bride's room. That has shrunk now just because so many temples have been built. We don't need as many, but every time I would train them for this role to serve, I'm like, just remember, you are an extension of Jesus Christ.
Ooh, that's good.
That's the end of everything you do in that room for that moment with that bride, with that mom, with the grandmother, the sisters. I mean, it's a big event to get sealed, right?
It's a big event.
It's an emotional event.
Yeah.
How are you going to be an extension of Jesus Christ for whatever happens in that little connection point with so many people and emotions and feelings and when I talk to people, I'm like, oh, if you could only see all my ladies, that's a perfect petri dish. It really is. It's just beautiful to see them in action. To really emulate Jesus Christ in that role. And not only that, in the temple. And always being focused on him, because you got to have the right heart of the person that serves in there. And if there's a heart we're going to want, it's Christ. So copy that. And we're all going to be good. All going to work out. It's all going to be amazing. Everyone will leave here feeling like they were loved, like they're in the temple. That's what we want them to feel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and as you do that, I can see in you, it just, it radiates what you're all about.
It's my goal. Not always perfection, right?
No, of course not. We're not perfect
We're
here.
not perfect.
We're not perfect. We're human here,
Yeah,
people.
we're human for sure.
Just take us. Just
Mm.
take away the food for 24 hours. We'll probably be a different person. Okay.
Yeah, hangry. You'll be hangry. We don't want any of that.
we still have natural tendencies, but no. What I just really appreciate you coming on today and talking about this motto: make heaven crowded. Let's make heaven crowded, people.
Yeah,
Let's walk with the Savior.
yeah.
Try to emulate Him.
Emulate Him.
Make space for people in our life. Make space for people on the path.
Not on the path.
Make
space for people not on the path.
Yeah, that's right. Make space for people not on the path. We're not going to exclude them. We're not going to be like, oh, they're not on the path.
Right.
Oh no.
They're not a believer. They're a sinner. How can they be on the path?
No, let's just leave that out.
Yeah, I think you can be on the path and still be a sinner.
Well, I like to think I'm on the path.
Right.
And I'm a sinner.
And you're a sinner. We're all
I don't know about you.
We're all sinners in some way. So
yeah, let's not forget that, right?
Again, we're just leaving space for them so they can make it to the gates.
Oh, yes.
And Christ can.
Let's make it crowded in heaven.
Let's make it crowded.
Jesus, and we're not making it easy. We're not trying to say, do whatever you want.
No.
Christ's going to let you in.
No.
But Christ, his tentacles reach, his tentacles yearn for us to come to him, to feel his power, to feel his love in our life.
Yeah. And I think he's going to do everything in his power to make space for you in heaven.
Yes.
It's just if you're going to choose that.
Yes. High five. That's it. Right. Are we going to choose it?
Are we going to choose it once we're there?
Are we going to choose it?
I'm not comfortable here. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Or, you know what? I'm all into this.
Are we going to choose him?
Are we going to choose him?
And so, hey. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this week on Walking with the Savior podcast. I'm your host, John Merrill Kirkman, and we will see you next week. Have a great week, everybody.